You're listening to an argument. The person speaking is incredibly confident, but instinctively, something about what they're saying feels completely wrong. The problem is, you don't have the precise vocabulary to take their logic apart. The physicist Richard Feynman pointed out that the first principle of thinking is that you must not fool yourself, because you are the easiest person to fool. Logic is a diagnostic tool designed to keep us honest. To understand how a complex system works, it helps to look at how it breaks. If you want to know how an engine runs, you study what happens when someone throws a wrench into the gears. Stephen King noted that reading terrible prose is the literary equivalent of a smallpox vaccination. It teaches you exactly what to avoid. For anyone trying to think clearly, the same rule applies. You have to look closely at terrible arguments. Bad arguments bypass critical thinking through three distinct attack vectors. They use distraction, they use emotion, or they use faulty structural connections. By reverse engineering these specific tactics, we can build a reliable immunity against intellectual manipulation. The first way an argument hacks the brain is through distraction. Instead of addressing the actual evidence, the speaker subtly changes the subject. This illustration highlights the straw man tactic. Instead of engaging with a real, complex argument, a person creates an absurd, oversimplified caricature of it. It is much easier to attack a dull, lifeless painting than a vibrant, moving target. Another way to dodge the facts is to attack the origin of an idea. If someone argues we should discard a policy simply because of who proposed it, or dismiss a concept just because it originated a long time ago, they are avoiding the merit of the actual claim entirely. The distraction can also get personal. A speaker might point out a character flaw in their opponent or accuse them of hypocrisy. Even if the person arguing is a hypocrite, it does not automatically mean the facts they are presenting are false. This tactic works because it forces the opponent to spend their energy defending their personal identity or untangling a bizarre misrepresentation. Meanwhile, the actual facts of the debate are completely ignored. If distraction fails, bad arguments target the nervous system. When evidence is entirely absent, a speaker will hijack your hopes or your fears. Look at this illustration. The lion reads a poster warning about cow emissions, but argues that getting rid of cows would force everyone to walk, ruining morale. Therefore, he concludes, emissions aren't hurting the planet. This is the argument from consequences. The speaker claims a statement must be false simply because its truth would lead to an uncomfortable reality. But an uncomfortable reality doesn't stop being real just because it leads to a grim outcome. Sometimes the emotion exploited is the human desire to belong. An appeal to the bandwagon pressures you to accept an idea solely because a large group of people already does. These emotional hacks succeed because they replace the heavy, rigorous burden of proof with the frictionless pressure of pure anxiety, or the comfort of the crowd. The third attack vector manipulates structure. The speaker builds a bridge between a premise and a conclusion that looks structurally sound from a distance, but is entirely hollow. You will often hear arguments that trap you in a binary choice. Either you agree with a specific plan, or you are entirely against the cause. This artificial dilemma intentionally erases any nuanced or neutral middle ground. This drawing illustrates a similar structural flaw. A beaver walks to the top of a mountain every morning just before dawn and asks the sun to come out. The sun always rises. But confusing the sequence of events with actual causation is a massive error. The fact that the beaver's walk happens right before the sunrise does not mean the beaver controls the solar system. Another trick is the "no true Scotsman" defense. Look at this club for pigs. When presented with contradictory evidence, the guard doesn't rethink his position. Instead, he arbitrarily changes the criteria, declaring only true pigs can enter, excluding unwanted evidence. These faulty connections deceive us because they disguise themselves as logical steps. They take massive leaps of faith and dress them up in the camouflage of undeniable sequential facts. Logic does not generate new facts about the world. It acts solely as a structural integrity test. It evaluates how consistently we connect the facts we already have. Learning the terminology of fallacies isn't about scoring pedantic points against strangers on the internet. Recognizing these architectural flaws gives you a precise yardstick. It allows you to identify bad faith arguments in real time and know exactly when to withdraw from a futile discussion. By identifying how distraction, emotion, and faulty connections function, we neutralize intellectual deception. we reclaim our objectivity and we restore our ability to make sense of an irrational world.